Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's Tiger Heli, brought to us by Acclaim. Tiger Heli, based on the arcade game of the same name, has 4 levels of scrolling shooting action that involves a helicopter with missiles and a lot of bombs. Being a relatively early on scrolling shooter, Tiger Heli features 4 different stages. After completing those, you'll end up looping through the 2nd through 4th stages over and over. Here we go with Tiger Heli for the NES. In this round of the game, I'm going to be playing the first 4 stages of the game. Overall, for a shoot 'em up, Tiger Heli is rather simple, having missiles with your A button and your B button being your bombs. You can only have 2 bombs at a given time, but you can pick up more throughout the levels. You also can get power-ups in the forms of mini helicopters that will then appear either on your left and right side of your copter firing those directions, or will actually fire straight, depending upon which ones you pick up. The added little mini copters do give you an extra hit, as they can be destroyed instead of you when gunfire gets close to you from those sides. However, if you take a shot straight head on, no matter what, you will end up losing a life. Though sometimes you'll end up firing out your bomb when you get close to taking a hit. Being such a simplistic shooter, there's not a whole lot of enemies. Basically a few ground cannons that will fire at you, as well as tanks and sometimes boats instead. You can destroy houses and other objects, leaving a giant hole in them, and also racking up bonus points for destroying these. In the upper left corner, of course, is your score currently, lower left corner your life count, and in the lower right, when you destroy these bonus boxes, you'll hear a little chime go off, as well as the counter will go up. Once you get to 10 bonus boxes destroyed, you gain a 1-up. During the first stage, they do a good job of slowly getting you into the action. You're not bombarded by a ton of enemies at the very start, and you're allowed to kind of figure out how the enemies work and how fast the bullets are going to come at you, depending upon which enemy fires at you. Here, I've been able to pick up the first of the mini Tiger Helis, and because of that, the red ones are the ones that fire left and right. If you pick up a mini Tiger Heli, it'll actually go still next to you, but will actually shoot straight forward. Unfortunately, no way to turn these little Tiger Helis to face different directions. Here, by accident, I ended up dropping one of my bomb items, but of course with no enemies around, it ended up doing nothing. Just a mistake of hitting the wrong button at the wrong time. The other thing you may find on the ground is the cross blocks. Shooting them while they're different colors will net you different gains as well. When a green one is there, it'll make the B sign appear, which is a bomb. The red ones will have a red helicopter appear, and the gray ones will make a gray helicopter appear. Here though, we're destroying it while it was red, and this nets us our second of the mini helicopters. We're now able to fire not just straight, but both left and right. You can't get one that fires backwards, and trust me, at a certain points, that would definitely be a useful addition. When you reach the helipad, you will end up landing and rack up a bonus point depending upon how many bombs you have left, as well as how many little mini Tiger Helis you have as well. And then you'll fly off and get ready for level number 2. The setting pretty much remains the same for all levels in the game, featuring bits of water, jungle, and city terrain. Level number 2 starts with a battleship, and after just a little bit of the battleship appears, a group of mini-boats will appear on the right side. These mini-boats are extremely difficult to deal with if you only have the default helicopter. Having one of the mini helis that fires right is pretty much essential to be able to dodge all the incoming fire, or else you'll have to do quite a bit of dodging and wait for them to get really far on screen before you'll be able to take out the little mini boats. There are a couple of unique enemy areas, such as big planes that'll come your way, as well as we saw the train tracks with little mine carts that move along them. Here is one of the big giant moving tanks. These guys require quite a few shots in order to take out, and they're the only enemy we'll be fighting in the game that does take multiple shots. The first one is pretty easy though, because it's just him on screen for a while before any other guns appear, so you can keep firing normally straight at him. Later on, and in levels 3 and 4, we'll be battling 2 of them at a time. That is probably the toughest thing the game has to offer. While I find Tiger Heli may not be the most memorable of the shooters on the NES, the NES port that I'm playing here actually did sell 1 million copies in North America. While there was no Tiger Heli 2, there were 2 spiritual successors to this game. Many consider them actually sequels, in the Twin Cobra games. Both of the games feature scrolling shooting action, as well as a helicopter as the main playable character. Twin Cobra was released for home consoles, as well as of course the original arcade version of the game, with it being on the NES, Sega Mega Drive, and many other home consoles. Twin Cobra 2 was a Sega Saturn and arcade exclusive. This area of level 2 is probably the most compact when it comes to a lot of enemies on screen at a given time, so be careful dodging quite a bit of fire. Playing the game a couple of times, you'll know when enemies are going to come from the left and right, so you can position yourself correctly to blast tanks and other objects before they really get a chance to get on screen and start firing at you. After the landmass ends and we're back into the water, we're close to the end of level 2. The difficulty, especially from 3 and 4, are definitely a lot tougher than the first 2 stages. Starting off though, you will have a couple of planes trying to take off from a runway, so be sure to blast them before they're able to fly into you. You'll have some more stationary planes sitting around, as well as some slow-moving ones that you can blast for extra points. It's always good to try to keep at least one of the bomb objects on you at all times, especially with the big giant armored vehicles that we're going to have to fight. One of the hardest things about Tiger Heli is the amount of enemies on screen. The game likes to flash a lot. Because of this, it can be very difficult at times to see incoming bullets. Also, because of the length of our ship due to the mini-copters, it's very easy for those copters to get destroyed by a bullet while you're just trying to bypass it by going downwards and away from any of the enemies. One of the best strategies, though, for dodging a bullet coming straight at you is to move diagonally down, either left or right, depending upon which area, of course, is going to be a little bit more open. Like all shooters, practicing knowing what's coming ahead is the key to knowing what to do next. Keeping an eye on your copter instead of the enemies above you is another great strategy in any shooter to avoid those bullets flying fast and furiously. Now, just a second ago, we battled 2 of the giant armored tanks. Using the bombs to your advantage, you can take them out with those as well as firing. Destroying one is a good idea, and then just try to avoid the fire from the other one until it goes off screen. If you're able to destroy one fast, you may want to then focus on the other one before it goes off screen, and for the most part though, destroying one gives you quite a lot of points and is good enough in order to keep moving on. Those 2 more armored tanks are the toughest part of level 3, but we're going to have to deal with more of that later on when we make it to level 4. Also, there will be a plane or 2 that will come flying at you, so just keep firing your missiles, so in case when the plane shows up on screen and it's coming towards you, your missiles should be able to hit it before it gets close enough to you. While you can hold down the fire button in the game and it will keep firing, it does so very slowly, so it's one of those games your finger is going to get worn out rather fast while you mash that button over and over and over again. After the land clears up, we find the 3rd of the helipads and we land, and now we get ready for stage number 4. Stage 4 has only a small amount of water right before we get right back on land and time to battle more tanks and other ground cannons. There's a lot of tanks waiting for you just ahead of where we start, so you want to just scroll left and right near the left side to destroy all 3 of those tanks as they appear on screen. Right here, there will be a good amount of enemies coming your way. Get close to the top and fire a bunch to take out 1 or 2 of the tanks before then start retreating backwards in order to try to avoid any fire that may come your way. Enemies in later levels definitely like to come in bunches, making it rather tough to deal with all of them, especially if they all get a projectile shot off at the same time. In this stretch of level, there's a lot of ground cannons firing at you, but since they're stationary, they're pretty easy targets for you to take out. After that last tank we just destroyed, get ready because 2 of those big armored vehicles are coming your way. So have your bombs ready if you have them in order to take out 1. Then, if the other one's still pretty close to the top of the screen, move yourself over and start firing at the second one, using either another bomb or your normal missiles in order to finally do enough damage to stop it in its tracks. After those 2 big vehicles, you'll have another stretch of area inside more of a city-like place with some tanks and all coming your way. Once you make it to the wavy gray floor pattern, it's time to battle 2 more of the giant moving vehicles. Hopefully you've been able to pick up at least 1 more bomb since then, and you have at least 1 of your other mini-copters left. They do thankfully give you a couple of cross items, so you may be able to either get another mini-copter or a bomb pickup. Then you'll be bombarded from flying planes before you're finally safely able to land. There is no kind of ending sequence or anything for the game, as it just jumps right back into the next level, which is actually just a repeat of level 2. Enemies are a little bit faster and there is sometimes more of them, but the game remains the same as you'll repeat levels 2 through 4 over and over. But with that, that's going to wrap up this edition of Play It Through. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoy.